Hi dear all, I Dr. Pooja Sharma, Assistant Professor at the BHOPAL School of Social Sciences, am back with a very relevant and interesting concept of Strategic HRM. We will be learning the meaning of Strategic HRM. We will try to define the term, we will try to find the nature, importance, the process of HRM, as well as try to differentiate between HRM and Strategic HRM with the help of examples from the corporate. Now, before I try to explain the meaning of Strategic HRM, let's first define the term strategy. In the words of Oxford Concise Dictionary, strategy means generalship. Thus, strategy is associated with the long-term decisions taken at the top of the enterprise. The term strategy is frequently being used in the present-day corporate world. It envisages thinking ahead to survive and grow in a competitive environment. But does it really create an impact on the corporate? Let's try to understand with the help of Google. Now, in 2006, co-founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page decided to take an empirical approach to HR based on the feedback and employee data. Google hired some smart people to undertake in-depth statistical analysis into what their employees consider to be good managers. A manifestation of this is Project Oxygen, an ongoing study into the management practices that identifies and measures the key management behaviors and helps nurture them. As a result, Google saw an overall improvement in people management as well as team metrics. You must remember these words which I am underlining. Turnover. Now, which turnover? This is the labor or the employee turnover, the employee satisfaction and the performance over time. So, what is strategic HRM? It is the process which involves in aligning the human capital with the long-term goals of an organization. And the main aim is to improve the performance of that particular company, of that particular enterprise. It is involved in the processes which are future-oriented. And when we talk about future-oriented, we are talking about also not only the development, but also the implementation of human resource programs involved in solving the problems in business. So, SHRM is used to create a framework. And what is it doing? It's linking the management of people on one side and the development of practices which are aligned with the long-term goals. Now, here we see on the slide, SHRM is founded on three major pillars. As you see, number one is human capital, number two is planning, and the number three is business competition. So, SHRM recognizes that human capital is not just a resource. I hope you all remember what is a resource. When I say resource, resource are 5 M's, and on the top of the list is the human resource. So, here SHRM says that human capital is not just a resource, but an organization's asset to provide the competitive edge. And when we are planning, what are we doing? We are basically aligning and we are future oriented. And we have to take an edge over the business competitors. And that's why the third pillar of SHRM is business competition. So, let's try to understand that what is the concept of SHRM, right? I have just given you a gist so far. So, SHRM is the practice. So, what are we doing now? Since the word HRM is attached to it. So, what are we doing now? HRM, it is the practice of attracting. And whom are we attracting? We are attracting talent. That's also called as talent acquisition. We are developing, rewarding, and the most important in today's scenario is retention of the employees for benefit of both the employees as individuals and the organization at large. Okay. Now, let's go further and try to delve further that what are the HR departments, how do they have to work if we are talking about strategic HRM today. So, HR departments today, they do not have to work, within a silo. They have to coordinate with all other departments in the organization. As a result, the goals of the HR department reflect and support the goals of all the other departments, and this we can also call as integration of the goals. Here you can look into the picture, which also says that so many the functions which the strategic HRM is going to do in the organization, including the attraction, the retention of the employees. We are talking about the performance appraisal, we are talking about the succession planning, we are even talking about HR audits here, we are talking about training programs being held, and also we call it as strategic workforce planning. Let's understand the meaning, right? So, what does it encompass in itself? We all know what does HRM encompass. So, now we have to understand what is strategic HRM encompassing. It is including what all? So, let us understand it includes hiring. So, what was hiring? Again, selecting good talent in our company, discipline, the payroll, and also involves working with employees in a collaborative manner to boost their retention, to improve the quality of the work experience and maximize the mutual benefit between the employee and the employer. So, the word is collaborative. You have to understand this, and I think students, you should also be aware that collaboration is one of the 21st century skill. So, we have to integrate it into are working day in and day out in the corporates. So, let us now look at from the examination point of view, what is the definition? What is the process of strategic HRM? So, when we look at the definition, what does it say? That strategic HRM can be defined as the linking of human resources with the strategic goals. So, on one side what is there? The human resources, and the other side there are strategic goals and objectives in order to improve the business performance. And not only this, we will not stop here, we will go further and we will also develop organizational culture. And why do we need this organizational culture? Because that is going to foster innovation, flexibility, and give that corporate a competitive edge. Now, we need to look at how do we have to go about, what is the process of strategic HRM, right. So, let us start here. When we see the process of strategic HRM, what are we going to do? First of all, we need to scan the environment, right. We will be scanning the environment. What does scanning mean? We have to understand, because we say that environment is very dynamic. And what does dynamic mean? That changes are going on, taking place around us. We have to understand the pestle of the company. That means, what are the political changes, any technological changes, any legal changes, any changes taking place in the economy. So, we have to understand all those changes even though we are doing human resource management. Then we will try to monitor and evaluate them. We will try to implement some HR strategies, identify HR strategies, and then try to build on our competitive advantage. So, here what are we saying? That strategic HRM is concerned with, number one, analyzing the opportunities and threats. And where are these? These are external in the external environment. Number two, we are formulating strategies that will match in the organization's internal environment. And what is there in the internal environment? The strength, the weakness of that particular company. So, basically what have we done? We have done first the SWOT analysis, or we can also call it as SWOT analysis of that company. Then we will implement the strategies that we have made, and whenever we make strategies, we call it as strategy formulation. Then we evaluate and control activities to ensure the organization's objectives. And what is controlling? Yes, controlling is comparing the actual versus the expected, right. Just remember this, because many students get confused in this word control. Here controlling is the function of management. Now, we need to understand that what is the nature of strategic HRM, or what are the characteristics of strategic HRM. So, as we understood that strategic HRM is basically future oriented. right? So, here we are saying that it is aligned, the first feature is it is aligned with the organizational strategy. So, all the departmental strategies that you are creating for your departments, you have to align with the organizational strategy. It is future oriented perspective. Proactive approach. So, what do we mean by this? That strategic HRM has a very proactive approach, that the activities will be done because we have the vision and mission in our mind. And we have been instilling this in the mind of all our employees. We are making them clear each and every day. Whereas when we will talk about HRM, it was a reactive approach. Comprehensive approach. What does comprehensive approach? Because it is comprehensive, means in totality, a holistic approach. So, what are we taking in its under its umbrella? What is strategic HRM containing? It is carrying with it not only recruitment, selection, training, rewards, performance appraisal, HR audits, etc., etc. So, that is why we are saying that it is a comprehensive approach. Now, we are saying the word integration, and we are using the word business functions. And here I would like to tell you what are the business functions in an organization. For example, marketing, for example, finance, for example, production department, operations department, right, as well as the HR, and these are the functions. And here we are saying that when we are talking about strategic HRM, HR department will never work silo. That I have already explained you. It will work in cohesion, in bonding, in integration with the other business functions. Employee-centric focus. In strategic HRM, the main focus is on employee. And why we are saying this? Because we have to direct the efforts of the employees to align with the organizational. How are we going to do it? We are going to develop employee engagement. We are going to empower the employees, right? Now, the next question arises in our mind is why strategic HRM is important. So, number one, which we have already done, that it improves the employee performance. It develops the workforce. Now, how does it develop the workforce? Because it also includes in it the training, the training and development of the employees. It creates a positive work environment and improves the overall productivity of the organization. Now, let us try to understand what are the aims of strategic HRM. What are the objectives? What is it focused on, right? Number one is we need to develop strategic competencies. And why we are doing it, why each organization is striving to do this and adapt itself to strategic HRM, because they want to have a competitive edge. What is so special about them? What is their unique selling proposition? It gives a sense of direction to the entire organization, in which direction we are heading, where are we moving towards. We try to achieve integration, which we have already talked about, as I told you in case of that we are integrating all the departments, and that is why we discussed this in the importance as well. And the last one, how to formulate a business strategy. There are various business strategies which the companies have to adopt from different time to time. So, one of the aim of strategic HRM is that which business strategy the strategic business unit will be adapting is also one of the objective of strategic HRM. Now, let us look at the benefits of strategic HRM. If you see the figure here, we have a lot many benefits like increased efficiency. Now, when we talk about efficiency word, what do you mean by efficiency? Now, so what is efficiency? Efficiency is related to the 5 M's. Or what is 5 M's? The resources in an organization: men, material, machine, money and methods. So, strategic HRM is going to work towards overall increased efficiency of the organization. That means optimum utilization, that means less wastage, improved employee retention. The employees are very happy You're keeping them, employee engagement is very high in your organization, and because of that, employee retention will be very good. Your improved employee engagement, empowerment, participation in decision making is very good. The customers are very happy with you. And obviously, when everything is win-win, so what is the best? That is, the increased profits will be there and your company will be really doing well. So once again, you can see we'll try to identify and analyze the external opportunities and threats which are crucial to our company's success. It will provide a clear business strategy and vision for future. And this is, I think, one of the most important benefit of strategic HRM. It will supply competitive intelligence that may be useful in the strategic process planning. So what is competitive intelligence? Briefly, quickly, I'll just tell you. It is basically the data, the facts and figures, that what is competition doing. Like for example, if we are talking about Samsung and you are working with Samsung, strategic HRM you have to do. So you are going to understand that what is Daikin doing, what is Carrier doing with air conditioners, what is Voltas doing with air conditioners, what is Blue Star doing with air conditioners. So you have to kind of create a strategic process planning. And another benefit is to recruit, retain and motivate people. And the word now is not just recruitment, this one step ahead the world has gone towards, or when you will go to corporates, the word is talent acquisition, and it's also called as talent retention. So what is talent? Talent is the people that you're hiring. As well as you need to motivate your team. You need to motivate your employees. And how are you going to motivate them? You're going to motivate them with the various rewards, incentive schemes, and not only that, the senior level or the middle management, you can even do it with the kind of good recognition. You're recognizing what they're doing. To retain and develop highly competent people. This is what I was just mentioning, that this is very, very crucial. And this is one of the benefit of strategic HRM, to ensure business surplus through competency. And what is the main target of doing any business? It's profitability, it's growth, and that's what we are saying, that by strategic HRM, by implementing strategic HRM in our corporate, in our organization, we will be ensuring business surplus through gaining competitive edge. Now let's look at another example, Cisco. The Cisco Talent Cloud is essentially an internal CRM that gives managers transparency into the skills and experiences of the company's 70,000 plus employees. And this approach allows the managers to put together the best team needed to complete a particular project. Senior managers can also access real-time intelligence on team performance, how they produce results, execute priorities, as well as the levels of engagement. Cisco calls this a one-size-fits-one employee experience, and it seems to be working. So Cisco, you can see, as well as so many other brands today in the 21st century, they are adapting to strategic HRM very successfully. Now the last phase of our video today, we need to also understand what is the difference between HRM and strategic HRM, right? So I'll not go deep into all these points, we'll just pick up some points. So let's take first one, accountability. Now who is responsible for HRM? HR specialists. Whereas when we talk about strategic HRM, it is both the line managers as well as the HR specialists. Now the focus of activity is just to take care of employee relations in case of HRM. But when we talk about strategic HRM, it is partnership with internal as well as external groups. The role of HR in case of HRM is reactive, whereas I told you that in case of strategic HRM, it is proactive. It is like a change leader. When we talk about the importance, in case of HRM, it is managing people to facilitate the activities, whereas in strategic HRM, it is basically HR strategy formulation as well as implementation with alignment with the organizational strategy, right. So let's now conclude. Time to conclude. I hope you have understood the second half where I mentioned about the characteristics of HRM. We delved into the benefits of HRM, the importance of HRM, what are the objectives or aims of HRM, and in the end, with some examples of Cisco and Google, we also try to see how actually this is being implemented in the corporates. So I would like to conclude today's video with the beautiful lines and very in-depth lines of Mr. Ratan Tata, ex-chairman Tata Sons. If you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk together. And who is this together? It is our employees. And how will we work together with them? Only by doing better employee engagement, which is going to be successful if you implement strategic HRM in your corporates. Thank you so much. Enjoy yourself and happy learning.